guys, good morning. This is Steve. I hope you guys are ready to do some playing today, but this message is really for my beginning bass players out there, my guys that are kind of like, have been playing a while, but really they're learning licks, they're not really learning the whole neck. You know, I did a lesson a couple weeks ago around doing a scale up the neck, major scale, minor scale, dominant scale. I kept it to those three for now. But what we really want to do is, I kind of want to reinforce just every note on the neck. So, I know one of the things that we think about a lot is sharps and flats, just kind of knowing where we are, right? And working our way around the neck. So one of the exercises I like to do is called Say It and Play It. So we start with basically an open string. Now if you have a 5-string bass, incorporate the 5th string in there. If you don't worry about it. I have a 5 with a high C, which is kind of unusual, less unusual these days, but it's still more unusual than a 5-string with a low B. Now, for today's intents and purposes, we are going to look at the 4 strings. So I'm only going to focus on E, A, D, and G today. Okay? So E, A, D, and G. And what we're going to do is we're going to use one finger on each hand. And I know I give this to my beginner students when they come in for lessons. And this isn't about getting your fingers faster. This is about memorization of the neck. And it really is important for you to know this, because this is going to help you in the long run when you start to work through different positions on the neck or just connecting ideas. With that idea, we want to start on the low string. So we are going to start on an open E. I know I got the fret wrap there, so it might be a little bit hard to see. So I'm going to turn a little bit so you can see this. So there's my open E. Now remember what I said about say it and play it. So, or did I say that at all? Well, I want to reinforce this in 3 different ways, because we're going to reinforce it audio, by hearing it, listening to it. We're going to speak it, and then we're going to look at it. So we're going to learn the lay of the land by looking at it, hearing it, and saying it, reinforcing it 3 different ways. I also want you to consider that whenever you're doing something like this, do it slow, take your time, be meticulous. It's really important. And just a heads up too, the way that I always envision this and the way I describe this, especially to my younger students, is when you think about the alphabet, the musical alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? Or G, F, E, D, C, B, A. We have to think of it like a circle, right? It goes either way, whether you're starting on A and you're going around back to A, or you're going from A backwards to A. We still have to know how that works. So you want to practice that. You just start with A, B, C, D, E, F, G, G, F, E, D, C, B, A. It's a learned skill. And it's going to help you in the long run to really kind of work through the neck. And the reason that I say that is because the strings don't just go up. They don't just ascend, they also descend. So for today, what we're going to do is we're just going to do it ascending. Now, there is also half steps and whole steps, and we're going to do this all in half steps. Certain notes don't have a sharp or a flat, or they do in reality, but they just don't appear that way on the neck at this time. For instance, B to C is a half step, E to F is a half step. So what I want you to do is I want you to envision the way sharps and flats work here. Think of it as a neighborhood, right? If I were to draw this out for you, and I went A to B is a whole step, right? In between A and B is the yard between the houses, right? So I have a neighbor next door, this is my house, there's a yard that goes in between us. That yard space, depending on who's using it, if it's A sharp or B flat, depending on who's using it, right? So it's kind of a way to visualize that. Now, when we say B to C is like half a double. So B to C has no yard between them. They share half a double, so there's a wall between them. That's that fret. E to F is the same way. Now, F to G is going to have, F to G is going to be a yard. So there's going to be a G flat or an F sharp. So on either side of those half and doubles is a yard to their other corresponding notes. So with that, we're going to start here. So we're going to start with that open E, and we're going to do this in half steps, okay? One finger each hand, because we're not, remember, this isn't a wiggly exercise. This is just about learning the neck. So I start with my open E and I say E. I go to my first fret. I go F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E. At that tempo, may even be too fast. You want to slow down. You want to really like learn. You know, right now, especially if you're really picking out location, you want to know what those side dots are. You want to put a name with those side dots. So by slowing down and really looking at where you are, and I ask this to every student, I say, do you enjoy playing the bass? And the answer is yes. There's a reason why you're playing it. You're not being forced to do this by somebody else. So slow down and take your time with stuff. If you really enjoy it, you don't get your favorite meal and then try to eat it as fast as you can because you love it so much. You want to savor it. So we want to savor our exercises. Savor what you do so that it benefits you down the road. So let's do that again. We're going to go up this E string one more time. I don't know if you can see that. Let me check. Okay, so I'm going to go E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A. Now, so I'm going to stop on A so that you can see that that's where that dot is, right? A sharp, B dot, C, no dot, C sharp dot, D, D sharp, E. Now, once we hit this double dot here, that is just a repeat of the lower portion of the neck. So once you get here, that is exactly the same as down here. So you want to kind of get that into your head that this area and this area are just the same, laid out just an octave above. So when you start to play your scales and your licks, you know they're exactly the same. So we don't have to focus on that. So what is true here is also true here. All right, so let's move on to that A string. So we're going to go A sharp, B, C. There's that half a double, right? C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A. There's our octave, right? So let's do that one again. A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E. Here's that half double. F, E to F, half step, right? F sharp, G, G sharp, A. So you want to do each of these. My recommendation is about 7 times up each string, 7 times correctly. Every time you make a mistake, you're back to 1. And that's just the way it should be for that because it takes 7 times to really build a skill set. So let's go up this D. D, D sharp, E, here's that half double. F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D. Let's do that one again. D, D sharp, E, half double, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D. And it really helps for you to almost kind of graph this. I do this for students normally in their books, or the Mel Bay Bass Method Book 1 has a really great run of the fingerboard, and you can kind of graph that and look at how that lays out for the neck, and that's going to help you put your numbers, number your frets, look at how that works, because if you're probably out there, you're probably already messing around with tabs, so it's a really good idea to kind of associate those two things together. Now, a heads up about tabs. Tabs are great. They're useful for some things, but just remember that tabs are just a recommendation. They're not really the be-all, end-all, because it's somebody else's idea of where that should be played. So that may or may not work totally, depending on timbre of the instrument or where you're playing that. I've seen people write out things on one string that aren't played on one string and doesn't make any sense. So really understanding to read music along with tabs, using tabs as like a shorthand for that skill that you already have is great. All right, diatribe done. Back on to the strings. Okay, so back to G. Here we go. So G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G. Notice what I want to do is I want to look at each fret. I'm gonna target it. It's almost going back to that like target exercise that I gave you like a long time ago with the I think I was playing Carvin bass on that one before they became Kiesel. But that was a targeting exercise, so we're still targeting. I'm using my eyes, I'm using one finger as I move through this. So again, let's do that G again. G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G. So it's going to take a little while. It's going to take a little while till you really master what this is, and that's okay. I mean, it's not supposed to go fast. Everybody wants everything done right away. If you like playing bass, enjoy this. Slow down. Take your time with it. There's so many great aspects of playing, and like once you really understand like what you're doing across your neck, you can really connect ideas. I was watching Pat Martino do something, and the idea is that he was using what he calls staircases because he's connecting ideas together. So he's playing, like, say, for instance, I gave you this C here. There's a C here. So when I'm thinking of like a minor lick, I'm connecting those ideas through almost a staircase, or I can have that. I'm connecting two different portions of the neck together. And a lot of that's because I know what notes I'm playing. So this does really help for you guys to really go through the neck and, and really just spend time making sure that you know those notes. It's not going to hurt you, it's only going to help you. So, yeah, this is a good idea. I recommend it highly. Alright guys, good luck with this. Take your time. Don't speed through it. This is not a once and done thing. This is an exercise that you're going to do probably if you haven't done this before, I would say at least a couple of years till you really know where you're playing, because as most of us, and this is what I discovered even in my own playing, it was that, that sounds really crappy. In my own playing, when I started, I remember like going through and knowing areas of the neck. Like I knew this and I knew this, and I didn't really know these areas too well. Like I started like losing some of the timbre in here, like some of those really great pitches. If you're an upright player and you're switching to electric bass, thank God. It really does make a difference. Having it dissected out for you and being able to see where that is really going to help in your development as a bass player, because then you can kind of overlay that on top of the upright, and it makes a lot more sense. Smondl's great and all those methods are great, but nothing beats actually having something that's cut up into portions for you so you can graph it out. So guys, this is Steve the Bass Guy. Check me out on Bass Musician Magazine. Also, we have a show coming out with me and Sean Cav doing Morning Beers, which is basically us talking about the music scene while drinking before noon. Not recommended, but fun. So, alright guys, I hope you check this out. I hope you enjoy. Be well.